All right, and welcome everyone to another episode of Chibi Podcast. It's actually a review episode. We're going to be reviewing today the movie Kimi no Nawa or Your Name. And we have almost the original crew for this movie review. You have me, as always, David the Smash Fan, and my... Oh, he's asleep. Hey! The one that's snoring here is the one and only Kenpachi Ramasama. Say hello to the peeps.
Hey, peeps. What's up, everybody? I'm back. What's going on?
Oh my God.
Bingo for a grip? You guys didn't freaking... I don't know where to start. It's crazy. I haven't recorded in a while. You guys recording DVC?
Recording the Dragon Ball Super.
Oh, Super. I'm sorry. I saw a big difference. Oh my gosh.
It is a big difference. And we also have here sweet and sassy Heather.
Hey,
Hi,
guys. I'm back.
And we have the one and only Sexy Tank. Can't remember what other name we gave you. Lou.
It's always Sexy Tank.
Let's show him our new greeting. Jose.
No. We have Mr. Worldwide here, but he's not recording.
No, he's not recording.
He's
But
playing Zelda.
so let's dive into it. We're gonna talk. Well,
Then nobody can
we're
hear
gonna-
you. Mute him.
he's not even talking. Can't even hear him. He's not mic'd up. Anyway, so we're gonna talk about here this movie that came out in early 2016 by the director Makoto Shinkai. If you don't know him, he did the movies 5 centimeters per second. He also did Garden of Words, and I forget the name of the Lost Children Who Hear Silent Voices. I think is the name of the other movie.
Children.
I can't remember how it's called. It's a weird name.
Why don't you say it in Japanese? You know the Japanese.
I don't know the Japanese one.
What?
But anyway, so he's come out, and a lot of people have compared him to, Studio Ghibli quality, and
El Ghibli.
yeah, and so I honestly don't thought of him that way until this movie came out. He borrowed it from some of Ghibli stuff and other movies, but this one takes a cake. And so this one, probably you've all heard of it. It's basically about this girl and this guy who start switching places, and switching bodies, basically, and their story of how that affects them and how they ultimately fall in love with each other. But it's done in a way that it was very...
It was so brilliant.
it was very original.
Really cool.
Heather hit it right on the nail, head on the nail. Like, it was just done in a way that...
Words are hard, aren't they, David?
Words are hard today. I don't know how to explain how he did it. I guess the only reason...
No, okay. At the very beginning, it was a little confusing because they jumped from the girl being in the wrong body to the girl being in the right body. Like, right off. Remember how fast of a cut that was? And I was like, wait, what?
I was a little bit confused.
I was a little confused.
But it made sense.
And then it started to do it more, and it moved a little slower, and I figured it out. And could tell, when they're in the right body and when they're not. And then they don't have, like, a full day in the bodies and then, like, switch back and forth in even time periods. So the whole movie, it's kind of like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, between them being in the right body and being in the wrong one. And you always know when they're in the right one and the wrong one.
Yeah, they did a lot of interesting things, like whenever, and the two main characters, it's Taki or Takeru and Mitsuha. And when Taki is in Mitsuha's body, she speaks in the actress has a little bit lower voice and speaks a little bit more like a coarse, I guess, in a way. And then when Mitsuha is in Taki's body, she speaks in a higher up voice.
Yeah.
And it's very, like, you can tell, very...
More upbeat.
Yeah.
Cheerful. The voice actors did amazing, I'd say, because they did create that distinction between the characters, even though it was the same voice, same voice actor. Just playing the two different roles within the same body.
The two different personalities.
Yep.
Jose, wait, you look like you got something to say.
No.
One of the cool things that I saw in this movie, which I've never seen in a movie before, is they did an opening for it, like an actual anime opening for it. They did it with the band Radwimps, who actually did the entire soundtrack for the movie. And so they played the first song, I think it's called Dream Lantern in English. And so they did the opening thing, and actually the opening, it like a lot of anime openings, it basically tells you what the heck's going on here. Kind of dive into a little bit, like you see them as the song starts. First the movie starts with them talking about the meteor, and then it cuts to the anime opening. And then this one, like you see all these visuals of like the red hairband that Mitsuha has, and then you see like there's one where they're standing back to back, and like I think the red band or the red bracelet's like falling down, and then as it gets to the two main characters, then you see like a change. And you see Taki, who's taller, at Mitsuha on the side, and Mitsuha has her haircut, and so you see like there's something happening. Time is changing. There's been a time skip. It's gonna happen in the movie because you see them also grow up, like in 4 different stages in the movie. So it was funny. Like if you've never watched the movie, watch the opening, you really look at it. It's gonna tell you it's gonna take a long time. The movie's gonna take place or take like tons of years. And actually, in the movie, I think it spans 8 years total. About like you don't see everything happen in 8 years, but that's how much time passes from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool with the opening.
Yeah, I mean, especially with 5 centimeters per second, he didn't have that, but there was definitely a time changes that he does.
Right.
In most of his movies, they do skip around. This is the first time that I saw like basically a theme song every time. We're gonna go forward for a little bit. It was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
It's a nice little break.
And they did like an intermission type of
song
time skip thingy, because that's when they finally kind of, like Heather was saying, like they keep switching back and forth, and when they do the little intermediate song, it's where it kind of went through the basic plot points of what's going on. So like it explained like what triggers them changing. It said it's sleep. Why is it happening? They don't know. And then it starts going through like different checklists of what they can and cannot do when they're switching bodies. Which I thought was hilarious. Like one of them.
That was funny.
Like one of the first parts in the movie, and one that happens consistently is that Taku.
No, don't give it away.
But I want
Just say spoiler. Then
Okay.
don't listen.
Spoilers ahead.
Okay, this movie
Get at
preview
it
has
now,
spoilers.
Shouldn't it be like give your thoughts about like what the movie was before you spoil it?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Fine.
At the very least, you could do that so that people like if they're thinking of watching it. Did you like it or not?
I loved it.
Okay, now spoil it.
Not spoiler.
I'll tell you this. If you have any interest in romantic, heartfelt, very emotional movies, this is good. But also it had a hint of comedy that was perfectly placed. And overall, just like really good animation, good music, loved the soundtrack. I think it was a great movie.
Story, I think it's not like necessarily a love story where.
Well, yeah, you don't have to.
You know what I mean?
You don't have to go in and expect it to all be lovey-dovey and the whole thing like that, because there is the adventure part of it. But me being a romantic, that's what I cling to. So that's why I'm like, oh, it was so sweet, and I cried like 12 times.
There's a few things you have to before we go into big spoilers. 'Cause I do want to talk about them, but before we go into that one, there is. If you've ever watched again Makoto Shinkai's movies, he's very notorious with having these ambiguous endings. And that they're not happy. You don't feel closure in any of them. Like the only one again that I thought was 5 centimeters per second, but even then that movie didn't have the closure I wanted. I had to wait for the manga to come out, and they added like a few extra scenes past it where you're like, oh, okay. Or even with the Garden of Words, I didn't like the ending, but when they have the manga version, they added like 2 or 3 more
Oh,
panels.
they did that again?
Huh?
They did that again with the
and so you see like if you watch Garden of Words, I thought the ending was, I didn't like the ending because it was just not
they're
happy.
releasing one for Your Name as well.
Huh?
They're releasing another one for Your Name. That novel.
Yeah, they have the novel in Japanese. I don't know if they have it in English yet.
Their pre-orders are up for it now.
But like I said, if you're expecting a normal Makoto Shinkai ending, this is not it. This actually had a really, really good ending, a heartfelt ending where you felt there was closure. And it's one of the best movies that he's done.
Right.
And again, his animation art style, before we go into spoilers, was tremendous. Like that's why you go watch Makoto Shinkai. His backgrounds, his scenery was flawless.
It was good.
His character design's a little bit different than his other movies, but other than that, it was really good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what you
really
thought
liked
about it.
What about you, Lou? What you thought about it?
Oh, I loved it. I didn't really go I knew a little bit about it, but not really. I didn't know anything about it really. I just heard, oh, this is one of the best movies ever, and that's about it. But what it entailed or whatever, so I went in there without knowing anything, and I ended up liking it a lot. I think I dreamt about it last night, to tell you the truth.
What is my name?
What was that girl?
It was that mixed with Attack on Titan because I was watching that last night.
You gotta write it in your hands, dude. You gotta write it in your hands.
So, but yeah,
right in his hand, and it's spilled with blood. It's a Titan's up.
Give me a moment.
No, but I loved it. I went in there without any expectation, and it was way good.
That's good.
Yeah, it was really good.
So overall, that's our spoiler-free part.
Spoiler-free part of the story. Now
let's go into the nitty-gritty stuff.
Spoilers.
And
Get
Diego
out now.
doesn't care because Diego is like, it makes me want to watch the movie more. I guess is what he says.
Less?
No, he likes to watch it more.
No less.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, never mind. Yeah, I get what you mean.
Why are we having a conversation with somebody that's have a mic?
It doesn't matter. Heather, you sound like you're eager to talk about a part or something.
What? No, you were going to talk about it.
Oh.
The funny part.
Funny
You were
parts.
Like, oh, it's so funny because the first time the guy is in the wrong body.
Uh-huh.
What does he do?
So the first thing he does, like, obviously, he knows that he's not in his room.
What
and then
guy wouldn't do this?
And then he looks down at
His
himself
chest.
and he sees that he has boobs and he's like, just starts examining. He's like, huh?
He fills him up.
Fills him up for a while, and then the little sister comes in and tells him that breakfast ready. And he all this time he's like, "This feels so realistic." Like he thinks it's a dream, and it's just the funny thing. And he does that consistently in the movie. Every time they switch, you see him groping himself.
And then at one point, he was so like nice about it, and he's like, I shouldn't do this for her sake. And not half a second later, it cuts to him still grabbing the boobs.
But it's him looking at his sister like while he's doing it. It was the weirdest thing. And then at the last time he does it, he switches one more time, and he's very emotional. He's crying, and he's hugging himself. And then the sister walks in, tells him the breakfast is ready. But then she stops halfway through, and she sees his sister's face, crying, snotting, and groping her boobs again. And he's like, so Yotsuha, and it was just the funniest thing because the little sister's traumatized. Like, I'm gonna leave early. Like, oh, my sister's weird.
Shaking.
It was, and Mitsuha had the same thing with Taki. Like, she was in his body and was like, there's something in between my legs. And so, obviously she touched it down there.
No, except she the whole time was all embarrassed about it. And she's like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. And she turned bright red. And when she came out of the apartment, I guess, she still had red cheeks and was like, she just looked so horrified.
Yeah, but Taki was not horrified.
I
He was
relate
having the
to
time of
that
his life.
feeling. I relate to that.
You woke up in some dude's body?
No, just like that's not something that I guess in high school you're ready to be like, oh, I gotta see this. I don't know. I was just like,
Thank you for guys listening. We'll be back. What?
Lost for words.
Sure.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I know, girls don't think about that, and they don't want to like sit there and stare at it. So
I don't want to sit there and stare at it either.
Exactly. So she looked ashamed and she looked embarrassed about it, even though she was in that body. Like, she was just nervous, and I could see that come across in her character.
I think that's with any girl. I don't think any girl would be like,
No.
yeah.
Very few. What's Yamada would have been all for it. Yamada's first time.
Yamada's first time. B got the HK. Yeah, she'd be all over that, huh, Jose?
She would have been like, cool.
What can I do with this?
What does this do? But yeah, you could tell she was embarrassed. But he was not. He was like, yeah, let's fill up every morning.
It was awesome. And what's cool is they showed how this actually has happened before with the family, with Mitsuha's family. Later on in the movie, they kind of talk about how the grandma had this before, and so did the mom. Had these vivid dreams that she doesn't remember too well, but of living someone else's life. And so the Mitsuha is like, well, maybe the reason is for this moment now that that you should know. And basically, the whole movie, what you find out, the big twist at the like 3/4, I guess, in the movie, is you find out that Mitsuha and Taki are switching places, but they're also passing through time because she's going 3 years into the future, switching places with Taki, and Taki's going 3 years in the past. And it kind of hints at this all throughout the movie because she keeps talking about this meteorite, this festival's coming, and he's like, what are you talking about? In his mind, like what she has no idea.
Yeah.
And so, but that reveal was actually pretty cool because you don't notice that
You weren't
until
really noticing or anything.
You just thought he was a little bit dumb or just
You're like,
didn't
oh,
care.
maybe he's just really out of it.
Yeah.
Like,
That's how trailers are supposed to be made. Because I saw one trailer, didn't see the whole movie. I was surprised.
right, like even in the beginning, when they're talking, they're both seeing the meteor and they're talking doing
Yeah.
the little overdub, but you didn't know that it did happen at the same time, but that they weren't switching places at that time. Both of them,
Yeah.
Mitsuha was, but Taki wasn't. And it's like it was really a big twist because I didn't know that was going to happen.
I didn't either.
yeah.
That was good.
Very unexpected.
Yeah, it was a really good twist, and I liked it how it wasn't only the fact that they're switching, passing 3 years, but also once he found out that that's what's happening, and that the meteorite actually went down and hit her town and killed everyone, that at that time he actually started losing his memories about her. He's trying to do all this. He does all this studying and stuff for
Research.
about the meteorite, and he
town.
keeps telling me like, what's her name? Why am I here? And he finally has a dream about her again, and he remembers the name, and he remembers about this shrine that they went to go. And so he goes over there, and he drinks what's it
Sake.
called?
Sake.
Kuchikame sake. I can't remember the name of it.
It's their last name.
Yeah, and so he drinks it, and he has like this vivid dream, which is really cool. Like they changed the art style; it's more like a watercolor style, and I didn't understand too much of it, but they kind of talked about the lore of what they believe in, prior to this, where they talk about musubi,
Yeah.
saying that everything's connected, that between time, space, whatever it may be, and so what happened? The reason that sake is so important is in the beginning of the movie, she makes the sake. Like she gets the
Chooses
rice,
the
does the
rice.
ceremony, chews it, and ferments it. So he drinks it, he slips, and he has this vivid dream where he sees like her parents. He sees
Her life, basically.
yeah, basically her birth, her sister's birth, and then sees that her mom dies and that the father has basically went away and doesn't want to be part of the family anymore. And seeing kind of the struggles that she went. And one of the things that I liked is all throughout it they show like the red band, the red bracelet that he always has, and even he doesn't remember why
That
he
part
has
was
it.
kind of critical because towards the beginning of the movie, you knew that the mayor, aka her dad, there was something about him that was kind of weird. You know what I mean? Like, when she's walking past, sit up straight, but like, why isn't she with her dad or whatever? I was
she
a little
didn't
bit
spend
confused
much time
there.
with him.
I was a little bit confused until maybe a little bit later on. I'm like, oh, that makes a lot more sense.
It is. I mean, yeah.
Douche.
And then there's like other parts that you always see him with the red band, even from the beginning of the movie. But I guess I didn't pay much attention to it, when I saw
It's
it.
very nice the way that they kind of hit that.
Yeah,
Because in any other character, it would have been just part of his design.
yeah.
And then it wasn't until later where it's like, wait a second, there's some importance to it.
And it's funny because you even see it that Mitsuha gives him it early on in the movie, that he gives her the bracelet, but you never really notice
Well,
it.
at that time, you don't know if it was
Yeah.
a bracelet because it kind of looks like it is from her hair.
Yeah.
She unravels it and gives it to him.
Well, she does use it like a little hair
Like a
band,
bow
Hair
braid,
tie.
whatever, hair tie.
Yeah.
I mean, you see it all the time, but you never notice. I guess you don't make the connection till very later, near the end of the movie, which again was really good. It kept you like, oh, it's been there the entire time. How could I not notice it? So that was really awesome.
Yeah, that's a nod to the, what is it? A Chinese?
It's a Japanese.
Japanese.
Is it Japanese?
So
Not
Ja-
tying-
So Japanese, they have this thing called the red string of fate. Basically, it's supposed to be that your pinky finger, I think it's your left pinky finger, is tied to someone else's pinky finger who you're supposed to be with, that you're fated to be with. And
White
this one,
Guzman.
no, So
Yeah,
Jenny
Jenny
Guzman.
Guzman.
Oh, that's right.
no,
You just gotta go back in time. What's your name?
but in this one they used it, but they used it with the bracelet, which I thought was
Yeah, that was
really
cool.
cool because they used something that's very familiar, but they changed it to make it fit the movie.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And then the finale part, where he tries to save her again, and they switch bodies for the last time.
That was intense. Oh,
That was an intense part because you see this whole part where Taki's in Mitsuha's body and talking with Teshi and with Sayaka, I think was her name, friends, to basically warn them this meteor's gonna come. We need to save this planet. We need to save the town, and we need to create a diversion. So they're planning this dynamite, to blow up one of the factories.
Substations.
Yeah, and then do an announcement on school saying that it's the government or the city council telling him to go to the high school where Taki knows that place is at least safe.
Yeah,
From the
because it was
blast.
still there 3 years later after the incident.
Right, and then, one of the things that he does is he can't get the dad to change, and so his thought is I need to go to Mitsuha. She can change his mind, and that's what.
Well, the dad kind of knew that it wasn't.
Yeah,
her.
Dad knew it wasn't her, but he knew that if anyone could change his mind, it would be her. It would be her, and so he goes up to the mountain where the shrine is, where his body is there, but 3 years in the future. And she wakes up and she has no idea what's going on. She's like, why am I in his body? Why is he in the shrine? And when she gets out of the little crater thing, she sees that her town's destroyed. So she's completely surprised, like, what the heck's going on? How's the town?
Why is it like this?
Yeah. And then,
Spoiler: she was dead.
yeah, she was dead. But
So she didn't
doesn't-
know.
So she didn't know. And finally they get up. She's just sitting there.
They get to the same spot at the edge of this
At-
big
No.
crater.
Twilight
Well, he's
hour
coming up
or
and
magic
she's
hour.
calling his name, and they
Yeah,
hear
they
each
can
other.
hear each other.
They hear each other.
But this is all at the time where
And
they kind of explain
then
that Twilight Hour.
the
or
golden
Magic
hour.
hour.
Magic hour.
Yep.
So the biggest thing that they talked about in the beginning of the movie, all throughout the movie, was like Twilight. Twilight is when it's neither day or night; it's in between. So there's other
They
names.
didn't really make it a huge point. I
No.
mean, the teacher just said this is what
It
it's
was very
called.
quickly, and yeah,
Quickly
But then also the
explained.
grandma-
Mentioned
But the
twice
grandma
after that.
mentioned it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it wasn't very prevalent. So it kind of caught you off guard too. Mm-hmm. But
Subtle hints.
the part that hit you the most right before is you see them at the exact same spot. They're right in front of each other, but they can't see each other.
They reach
It's
out to
still there.
grab
They
each
reach out
other's
to grab
hand.
each other, and there's nothing there. And then finally the sun sets down, and they both say magic hour, and that's when they finally see each other for the first time in person, and they switch
In their
places.
original bodies.
And they're back to their original bodies.
Yeah, and so that part was awesome to see. They finally, and all
I can
throughout,
only find my love that way.
and this. So before that, you find out that Mitsuha actually went to go see Taki, 3 years before, right? That he went to Tokyo. She went to Tokyo, tried to find it because he was supposed to be on a date with this girl named Miss Okudera. But that's when she found out that she had feelings for Taki and wanted to see him and
Yeah,
basically profess it. But
and yeah.
go ahead, Jose. What happened?
No, but you're like, oh, she went to see him. It's so good. And then she spends the whole day trying to find him, but she can't. And lastly, when she gets on the train to go back home, basically, she finds him. And so she goes to talk to him. But obviously, he doesn't remember because at this time in the timeline is 3 years in the past. And he doesn't know her because he didn't change bodies with her.
Until 3 years later.
And so she's like, she doesn't know what to do. And as she's being pushed to get out of the train, he tells her, "What's your name?" And then she tells her her name, and takes out the bow, and that's when she gives it to him.
And they talk about that when they're speaking face to face at Twilight, and
She's like, "I'm sorry, I
and
didn't know
and
you."
they're talking like
And then your heart is like breaking. You're like, "Ah!"
like it's so cool. Like they're like time's running out. Like
saved her then.
he's telling you gotta go. You gotta convince your dad to save the town. She's like, okay, I get it. And then he has this idea like, hey, let's write our names
On our
so that we
hands,
don't
yeah.
forget each other. And so he writes down on her palm first, and then he hands the pen to her, and she's about to write. She does one little
One
mark,
line.
and then
He says something. I can't remember what they're saying at that point too.
I can't remember. But then all of a sudden,
Oh,
Twilight's
like
gone.
I have something to say to you or something.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I have something to say to you. She's like, and then she's starting to write her name. She's
And then
like,
it
okay,
just-
and boom.
it was done so abruptly because there's
I
the
was so
music.
pissed.
And then
the
the
music,
heart
it
breaks
was
again.
yeah. The music was good, and all of a sudden the music just stops. You just hear the pen drop, and then this is where like the heartbreaker, where it tugs at your heart comes because he's there and he says his little monologue that he does in the trailer where he says like, "I want to tell you that wherever you are in the world, I will find you, and like I won't forget your name."
And he keeps
And-
saying her
And he
name.
yells it out.
He keeps
like,
yelling, "Mitsuha, Mitsuha, your name's Mitsuha." And at the, like one last time he says it, and he stops. And
He's like, me.
and he's like, "What?" And he tries to go write it down in his palm, and he can't remember.
Yeah,
what he's
because
writing.
he's saying Mitsuha, Mitsuha, and he's like, me. And he's about to write it, and he's like, what am I doing
What am I
here?
writing? And he's like, "What's your name?"
Why am I here?
He's like, "What's your name? What's your name?" He starts crying. You're like, "Oh no, I'm
like
gonna
he feels he
forget
has a
it."
purpose that he's there, but he
Cut to
doesn't know
Mitsuha.
why.
She's running back down the mountain.
Cut to Mitsuha. She's running down the mountain. She tries to help everyone. You know,
She remembers his name.
she remembers the name throughout the entire, a lot longer than
He did.
Yeah, than Taki. And she's running and she's trying to get to her dad, and she trips and she has a hard fall.
And
Like,
you
that
see that
fall is hard.
the meteor is actually like really close by now.
Yeah, it's really close, and she takes that fall, and the music keeps playing, the instrumental part, and she's like, "How can I forget his name?" And she opens
Because at
up
that
her,
point, yeah, she
opens up her palm, and instead of saying his name, he wrote down, "I love you."
like, damn it,
She was like,
Huggy,
that doesn't
son of a
help.
snitch.
And she's like, "You idiot! Like, how am I supposed to remember you with this?"
Yeah.
My gosh, it was hard. It was hard to watch. I was like, I know why he did it. Like, you know why he did it, but it just sucked.
Yeah, that sucks. Because he didn't want her to forget that he actually did fall in love with her.
Yeah.
One thing though that I would say is like I would want to see. I did wanted to see what happened. What did she say to the dad?
Yeah, you don't,
You
see,
don't
that.
see that.
You see her say something. I'm pretty sure they
She
made.
comes in after that, and then
She comes in and he's like, "Oh, it's you again," and then it cuts, and you can see that he really knows that it's.
and then right after
her.
that is
Her.
the hard cut where the meteor falls like right by their door, basically,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah, and I love how they did it with the music because all of a sudden it just cuts and then silence for 3 seconds. Then you hear the boom.
Explosion. Yeah.
No, it's not like that. It actually shows the meteor dropping all the way.
Right, but the music's playing. But then once
yeah.
it hits,
And once she's in
the
there with
music's-
her dad, is like the hard cut. Boom.
and then from there, like,
But you don't know if they escaped or not.
Because at that point he wakes up because he had fallen asleep.
yeah, and he's like, what am I doing here? And then it cuts to, this is where a lot of people would think this is how he ends it, because he talks about how there's this overdub that in a time skip of like 5 years where Taki's talking, he's saying like, you know, I don't remember these events too well from that time. Like, I wake up every morning, you know, thinking I'm missing something, but I don't know if it's a person or if it's a place.
Somewhere I need to be or something I need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
I thought the movie was gonna end there, and I was already ready to like turn to Jose and tell him how much I hate this movie because I got to that point and I was like, no, like this is where it ends because I've been burned too many times by movies that end prematurely.
Especially with Makoto Shinkai.
Well, I don't know if that would be prematurely. He's just
It's not
he wants to
It
break
would've.
your heart.
I didn't know if she was alive or not or anything like that, and that's why I was like, no, no. And then it kept going, and
Well,
I was like super
the thing
happy.
you gotta realize
it teased
with-
you too because it
Yeah.
said, "Oh, the meteorite tag or whatever on that day." That
Yeah.
was 8 years ago, but it didn't say if they survived or not.
Yeah, well, the thing is that with Makoto Shinkai, most of his movies are actually have to deal with, like, more in how to say it. It's more like what happens in real life. You don't always
Yeah, I know, but
have your friends all your time. You don't always end up with a girl.
and
And there's like all his movies kind of go around this theme of it. You don't always have like the happy ending that you would like to see, which is why I was like, "Oh, it seems like we're gonna get another
Yeah,
one."
I know. I was like, the worst part though is that in the last like 15 minutes, kept teasing them that they're both in Tokyo.
Oh no, because then as he's explaining these things, you know, of what happened, little by little, he is showing you like, oh, it's kind of weird that I was so obsessed with this meteor attack,
And now
that
I don't know
randomly
why.
500 people got saved,
Yeah,
and then you're like, what? because after the hard cut, you don't know what happened to it, and that's like the first time that he says anything. It's like, yeah, it's kind of like weird coincidence that all these people just happened to go to the school.
They say they had a fire driller.
Emergency drill.
Yeah, and they're like,
and then you're like, and then you're thinking, wait, what? It's like, why didn't she go and find him? Why, like, all these questions, and he's telling you like all these things that happen.
yeah, and then like you see, like I said, even in the 15 minutes, like another 6 months pass. Like, and you see him talking with Miss Okudera, and she basically says like, I hope one day you find happiness because she's married with someone else. We don't know who.
Yeah,
but obviously he's not happy. And then like the one part where I thought they would turn is when he's walking on a bridge or walking on a sidewalk, and it's raining or snowing, and then a girl's walking by right next to him, passes him, who has a hair braid and a ribbon, and has little bells, and he turns around, looking at her, walking. But she doesn't read, and she keeps walking, and then she turns around for a little bit, and you see it.
Well, yeah, because then he turns around and he starts walking, and a little bit later, that's when she turns around, and I was like, no!
I thought
you gotta run to her!
I thought that's where they were gonna end. I was like, oh, Makoto Shinkai, no!
They played with my emotions too much.
I said, I screamed. I was like, you gotta run to her!
I know, I heard you. That was the funniest thing. Like, you gotta run to her! But it wasn't on that point. It was at the last point. Because
I did it in a bunch of times, I screamed.
So the last part was actually kind of, they were connecting what was the first 1 minute and a half of the movie. Because a minute and a half, there's this overdub where talking about how this guy and this girl are talking about how there's something missing in their lab. They're always searching for something. There's hollowness inside of them. And so that monologue is placed again when Taki is on the train. And he's like, I've been searching for someone. Then he looks and you see on the other side and on the other train, you see her right there. And you finally see her when she's all grown up. And you're like, what the? And then and the train split, go to different ways.
You gotta jump to her. You gotta open that door and jump.
And then like for like 2 or 3 minutes, like they get off the train, they're searching. I don't know what the heck they're running. They're running in the street.
But it did seem that long.
Like,
he's listening to me. He's like,
he's running in the street. He's running in like other cities or buildings, whatever. And finally, they get to this staircase, and he's at the bottom. And he looks up, and there she is.
And then he gets a grin, and he looks down, and he walks.
He's like, you gotta run to
her. But he doesn't.
He's walking, and then she's walking slowly too, and they're not looking at each other.
Yes.
They pass each other, and you're like, are you serious?
And then I was like, you gotta turn to her.
And you see this pain look on her face. She's like, oh man, I wasn't. And he gets to the top of the staircase, and you're like, come on, you gotta turn. Finally, you see him like clench his fist, and he's like turning. Excuse me. He's like, don't I know you from somewhere? And finally, she turns around. She's like, I thought so too. I'm like, finally,
and they were both crying.
And then,
you gotta go and kiss the girl.
and then the movie ends when they say, "Can I ask you your name?" And then it ends. I'm like, oh!
I was crying like the whole time.
Run to the girl. Damn it! Oh my gosh, that movie was awesome. Like,
it was such a good build up too, because at one point, I knew that they were gonna end up together. Once you saw her and when they're running, both of them, I had this inclination that they were gonna do it. But with his track record and everything that I knew, he kept like, no, you know what? I'm not gonna do it. No, you know what? I'm not gonna do it.
See, and I had a different. I've never seen the other movies, so I had no idea.
Yeah, I didn't either.
So I'm just like, no.
Even then, though, yeah, let's
like the thing was, like, I was expecting them to keep walking.
Yeah,
and them saying, "I never found that thing," or saying something like that.
I found myself still looking.
Yeah, I was like, no, because that's how he does it. Mm-hmm. That's how he does his movies, and that's why they're so frustrating to watch. Because they have good stories, but they just end.
Maybe they actually told him.
Maybe
they actually told him, make it a happy ending, you'll make more money. Because holy crap,
it's true.
The biggest anime movie worldwide.
It's been Studio Ghibli and tons of things, and it's funny though if you read about like the inspiration about the movie is. If you remember, I think in 2011 or 2012,
there was right now. It's the 13th time.
I'm laughing at Diego.
But anyway, there's that nuclear meltdown that happened in Japan, and it affected like hundreds of people that had to evacuate. He said that was a big part of his inspiration for the whole media thing.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Was that don't quote me on it correctly, but I know
not
that
like a one for one.
Yeah, but that meltdown had some influence on it.
Cool.
So that was really cool. I've seen the Japanese version of it. There are a few changes on it that some of the jokes still worked well, but it worked better in Japanese. For example, just before we give it our final thoughts on it, when they switched places for the first time, and when Mitsuha's in Taki's body, when they ask about if they want to go to the cafe, in English he kept saying, "Well, a gal," like, "Huh? A girl? Hi, a guy?" Like, "Uh-huh." That's what you mean.
Well,
Like,
why didn't he get there on time?
Yeah, so he's like, a guy gets lost, or he said something like that.
Yeah, a guy's got to do what a guy's got to do.
Yeah, something like that. In Japanese, if you don't know the way that you present yourself, there's like a female form to say I, and so that's what she said. She said I 2 times in the female form, and that's where they're like confused, like, why are you saying it that way? And then he says it in the male form, and that's where like, oh yeah, that's the right one you need to use. So that one kind of got lost in translation. I think they did very well the way that they did, but I think that one, and then the Twilight one, it was worth a little bit more the way that they said it, because I mean the word's still Twilight, they said it differently, and it had I guess it had different meaning from what I heard from the Japanese version. They said aside from that, I thought it was really good. I didn't notice the difference. Like, I didn't think it affected the movie at all. If you've ever if you just saw it in English,
good acting.
It was great acting. I can't remember the names of the actors. I just know that Teshi was Kyle Hebert, who does Gohan from the Dragon Ball Z series, adult Gohan. But overall, like, out of all, what is your final thoughts, your final rating on this one? First of all, I'll tell you this much: I don't agree with IGN's rating on this one. I have a big problem with whoever does their anime reviews, and they give it a 7 out of 10, which personally, my opinion, is preposterous. This movie does not deserve a 7 out of 10. In my personal opinion, I give it a 9.5. It was just tremendous, just astronomically good. I can't use any more adjectives to describe it. It was just amazing. What about you, Jose?
So I've been thinking about it ever since yesterday, since we got out of the theater. I can't really think of that many things. Like, I would really have to nitpick the movie to find things that I didn't like.
Right.
Kind of like me wanting to see what the dad's story and what she said to get him to evacuate the town. Outside of that, there's nothing personally that I have against it. I was happy that they weren't like the usual anime tropes of falling on top of the girl and grabbing the boobs, stuff like that, stuff that I'm so used to seeing.
Right.
None of that was here. I don't think there was that many anime cliches that were actually here, which is like very refreshing for an anime movie. I really loved it. I think I am following on the 9.5 as well. Like I said, I don't think I can think of anything to make it better or worse. Like I guess I could see how I could make it worse. On the IGN thing, it's kind of like some people just don't like things.
I guess like
some people are not gonna like Bigata HK, and that for me is like a solid 9.
Oh yeah, I agree with you there.
So it's kind of like that. I just don't see why she didn't. From the review, from what I read, it sounded like the person really liked it. She really liked it, but she just went for a 7.
Can I make a comment about the IGN review?
Yeah.
This is what gives it away for me. That this person is very biased. In her verdict, it says, "Your name doesn't quite match the feel of a classic Miyazaki film." Right there. She was looking for a Miyazaki movie, not this kind of movie.
Yeah, so maybe she just she's not used to
she has a Miyazaki bias, which I think affected her score.
Yeah, it could be.
Because Miyazaki on other places it got 9.3, 97
there
on
are
Rotten
some people
Tomatoes.
that agree with the review of a 7. There's some people that say no, it's not as good as people have made it out to be. But personally, like I said, I only saw one trailer and then I stayed away from everything. I didn't read any other reviews. I didn't see anything. I'm glad that I didn't, because IGN actually they reveal a lot of the spoiler things in the review.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, 9.5, solid movie. Definitely worth a buy. Definitely worth a see.
Yeah, I'll definitely buy it when it comes out.
Much better than Moana. Should have won the Oscar. Hands down. There was no... The only animated movie that kind of could go, and even then it's not toe-to-toe, would be Kubo and the Two Strings that came out last year.
Yeah. The thing is, like, the reasons they're saying why it wouldn't nominate is because there wasn't enough exposure and all this stuff. But honestly, like if they would, I don't think they actually watched it.
No. And we know this has happened before where anime movies have been on the ballot, but they didn't watch it.
It's
Yeah.
the Disney label.
Yeah, it just sucks.
I
Hands
personally-
down.
Maybe
And
just
I
what I
like
or maybe
personally
the fact
think.
that it's an anime. So I mean,
Yeah, it's
maybe you have to
already
understand
fighting-
the culture of that Japanese.
They have
culture.
to-
Yeah.
First, they have to
'cause
break that
I'll admit, when I
barrier.
first started watching anime, not I hated it, but I didn't quite understand it.
Yeah.
Just because there's so many things that I don't know about that culture. But once I learned a little bit more, like,
Well,
it
and the
makes
thing
sense.
is,
You know what I mean?
within anime, there's
is like
there's
brothers.
different avenues you can go. There's the mecha animes. There's there's a bunch of variety. So if people start down the wrong
pervert
path and they don't
animes.
like it, they're not going to give anything else a try.
Brothers
Right.
and sisters animes. Ninja.
Shut up.
Anyway,
But yeah, I like again best movie, best anime movie I think I've seen so far.
Mhm.
I really loved it.
Heather,
I'm gonna go cry now. Gotta run with her, damn it!
Heather gives it 3 cries out of 3.
13 cries.
13 cries out of 10.
13 out of 10.
Yeah.
no, I really want to give it a 10 out of 10 because I loved this movie, but I also I just can't think of anything wrong with it. Like, it's scary to give a perfect score because I'm like, ooh, maybe I'll think of something later. But I like
But at the
personally
base
for
of
me,
the type of
10
movie
out of
that
10. I love
If you're
this
gonna look for
movie.
negative stuff, you're gonna find something negative about
Yeah.
it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you have to I think with this movie you have to be very nitpicky.
Like, the only thing I
Yeah,
could
yeah,
think about is maybe the beginning was a little slow. But even then, like, it wasn't like, I was like, okay, come on, pace it up. Like, it had to
I
set
enjoyed
some
the
up.
whole
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, like, that's the only thing I could think of. Maybe people saying that the
I
beginning
would
was
say
a
maybe
little
I was a
slow.
little bit confused in the beginning. But I'm like,
Yeah,
I knew
I
that's kind
guess-
of how
I guess I
kind
was
of-
a
there was
little
no way
animes are
to-
like that anyway.
because if
until
they
later
tell you
on.
like, hey,
Yeah.
by the way, they're
So then
gonna
I'm like,
change
okay.
bodies, like
Yeah.
it's kind of gonna ruin it a little bit.
Yeah.
It was nice to see. It's like, why was she acting weird for like yet the day before? Like, what is that?
Laura, what's your score?
Oh, I loved it. I'd go for 10.
10 Daddy Yankees.
Yeah,
out of 10.
and 10 Diddy Yankees.
From
No
Pe-
pit bulls.
No,
I never really
zero
go-
pit bulls out of 10.
Like when I go watch a movie, it doesn't matter what it is. I don't care who directs it. I'm just there for the storytelling.
Right.
However the storytelling
Yeah.
happens is what I rated on. And
I
I
like-
loved it.
I like
So-
Luari's thinking is where he goes when Luari goes into a movie. It's not about everything around it. It's in that moment. Is this a good movie?
Exactly.
Not
A
the
remake or
politics
whatever, how
behind
did
it.
make
Not
me
the
feel?
trailers. Yeah, he's a for the moment type of
Yeah,
movie
I mean,
watcher.
I will admit, going into the movie knowing, first of all, Makoto
watched
Shinkai, good thing is obviously the scenery. Like, I knew that was going to be
Yeah.
great. Like,
You'll be hard pressed to find anything else that looks better than that.
yeah, and the only thing that I was worried about going in there was the ending. Because, again, he's notorious for doing quote unquote realistic endings, and it just sucked. I don't like them, but he did great on this one. I honestly say it's going to be a classic. You know, it's going
It's
to
already
be
a classic.
Yeah, be ranked up there. One of the reviews I read before we end this that they said is like this is this generation Spirited Away, because Spirited Away was amazing. It was a great movie,
Yeah.
but this one will take this place. Kids will talk about what a classic anime movie was. They're gonna say it's Your Name. Like it's just fantastic.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. It's like again to me, it's the best one out of any anime movies that I've seen.
yeah.
I've watched a lot of the Studio Ghibli and I like it. I don't think none of them are as good as this for me.
Yeah, I'll agree with you. I mean, I
Right.
recently
Totoro,
watched
anything,
Spirited
they're
Away,
amazing, they're good,
and-
but I personally, I would
yeah.
Your Name. Like I don't get emotional usually, and this one had me actually emotional and emotionally
This-
invested. And I'm gonna go cry now.
This is the Anohana level.
Well, I think the fact that this one was so good is that, you know,
I'm gonna go buy
the
that
other
book.
ones, they kind of have a little more sci-fi, like more fantasy, I should say, to put to it, which is fine. I don't
Yeah.
care about that. But this one kind of, besides in a way,
time
time traveling,
travel.
switching body parts, it's all the same.
It was grounded, I guess.
You know
I
what
think
I mean?
the Studio Ghibli this is also more of a romance too.
And Studio
which is
Ghibli
something they
doesn't do
don't-
that.
Yeah, they don't do that. So it's just different things for different folks. But again, to me, this is the best one. Go watch it.
That's sweet. All right. That's it for our review for Your Name. So if you want to hear more about us, go to our YouTube channel, Chibino Podcast. Podomat.com is Chibino Podcast. Facebook, Chibino Podcast. and Instagram and Twitter at Chibino Podcast, capital C, capital N, capital P.
CMP.
Yeah. As always, leave us a comment or anything else you'd like us to review. Saying goodbye. This is David the Smash Man.
What's my name?
Your name's Kenpachi Ramasama.
Yes, it is. I remember now.
And
Bye.
bye.
We'll see you later.
And this is Chibino Podcast.